Its last leg in Concacaf tonight as the third and final stage of qualifying sees a critical swing game in Group B. It is Curaçao and Jamaica from the Stadion Ergilio Hato in Willemstad, live across the region and around the world. I'm Donnie Barnes. We'll look at the weather conditions here in Curaçao tonight. It has been a beautiful day. It's a big day in Curaçao. Big for both of these nations. For Curaçao, it has been their national day, a national holiday happening to fall on this day where they have a home game in World Cup qualifying. 88 degrees Fahrenheit at match time. There is a bit of a breeze at 11 miles per hour. It is humid as well. But right now, good conditions for a big game tonight. Remember, 12 CONCACAF nations have reached this final round of qualifying, and they've been drawn into 3 groups of 4. Group B is an all-Caribbean group. Bermuda and Trinidad and Tobago kicked off an hour ago. Trinidad and Tobago currently leading 2-0 just before halftime. So in this live table, they would be up to 4 points if that result holds. Curaçao on 4 points through 2 games. You see Jamaica perfect so far. 2 wins from 2 and +6 in the goal differential. And remember, goal differential is the primary tiebreaker. So Jamaica in a very strong position after the first third of this final round of qualifying. Each team, remember, plays 6 total games in this last round. So after tonight, everyone will be halfway through. Not much time left in which to make an impact, but there is still time. And for Curaçao, obviously, you can do the math. If they win this game and take all 3 points tonight, they would leapfrog Jamaica and go to the top of the group. But if Jamaica win, they would suddenly be 5 points clear at the top. They wouldn't be in the World Cup yet, but they would be right on the doorstep. So a massive opportunity for both of these national sides. Only the group winner, remember, gets a direct ticket to the World Cup next summer. There are 2 best second-place finisher spots that will go to the Interconfederation playoff next March, but obviously the direct path is just to win the group and go there immediately. I mentioned a festive day in Curaçao, their national day. They celebrate the anniversary on October 10th of becoming a nation inside the Dutch kingdom. If they could reach the World Cup for the first time, Curaçao would pass both Iceland and Trinidad as the new smallest nation ever to qualify. With just over 150,000 people at last accounting, they are certainly underdogs on a global stage, but they have improved by leaps and bounds over the past decade, and they have every chance of doing it this time around. For Jamaica, also the quality and depth of their squad growing dramatically. They've been to a World Cup once, you may remember, back in 1998. This is being billed as their biggest game in 27 years since they clinched qualification those decades ago. And so as they take to the pitch tonight here in Willemstad, a massively consequential night. Will Jamaica put themselves on the brink of the World Cup, or will Curaçao surge to the top of the group and make this island's dreams right there for the taking? We'll hear the anthems of these 2 nations, then see starting 11s and kickoff. Curaçao and Jamaica on the road to FIFA World Cup 2026. And it's next.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's rise for the national anthems. The national anthem of Jamaica. Please show respect for the national anthem of Jamaica. Now please remain standing and show respect for the national anthem of Curaçao.
The biggest World Cup qualifying game that Curaçao has ever hosted, falling on their national day here in the year 2025. October 10th, they celebrate this national day every year. And what a day to celebrate tonight, especially if they could pull off the upset against Jamaica and surge to the top of Group B in World Cup qualifying in the Concacaf region. Curaçao in blue, Jamaica in the gold and the green. The customary colors for both of these sides here tonight at a packed out Willemstad. We have had the anthems and the handshakes. Now they'll pose for their respective starting 11 photos. A night that will swing this group one way or the other if either side can take all 3 points. Jamaica starting 2 points clear of Curaçao at the top. Curaçao would pass them with a win. Jamaica would go 5 clear if they win. Just 3 matches left to play in this final qualifying round after tonight. Both these sides tapping into their broader diaspora after the last couple of years, or over the last few years. See the two captains meeting at midfield. Andre Blake is back between the sticks for Jamaica tonight. That's a big return for them, of course, their longtime starting goalkeeper. He missed their 2 qualifiers in September with a hamstring injury. Leandro Bacuna, who, of course, is formerly of Aston Villa in the Premier League. He is the captain once again for Curaçao. Here's the starting 11 for the home side. 2 debutants for them tonight. Armando Obispo makes his debut in Curaçao colors on their back line. He played for the Netherlands U21 side, but now has declared for Curaçao. And Sonye Hansen makes his first start up top on that left wing. Very speedy, 23 years old, plays for Middlesbrough in England. So both of those players earning their first caps for Curaçao here tonight. Our match officials, Brian Lopez, the center referee, Juan Tipaz and Quetzal Corrales, the 2 assistants. Nelson Salgado is the 4th official. Here's the VAR room for tonight, led by Benjamin Pineda of Costa Rica, assisted by Yassith Monge. Now the starting 11 for Jamaica as they try to close in on a World Cup berth. I mentioned Andre Blake back in goal for them. Ian Frey makes his Jamaica debut, plays for Inter Miami, of course, just 22 years old. A big night for him. Bailey Katamar-Terry scored his first Jamaican goal in the last window in September against Trinidad and Tobago, just his 3rd appearance. He plays for Sheffield Wednesday. Amari Bell is out on the left wing. Dexter Lembekisa on the right. And Bobby Reed in the middle of the attack in the midfield. They are without Leon Bailey and Michael Antonio in this window. 2 Premier League players, both out injured right now. So 2 big misses for them, but they still have plenty of quality throughout this side as they try to minimize the drama in Group B. But a Curaçao win would throw this group wide open. It will be Jamaica to kick off. Again, they are in the gold and the green. Curaçao in the blue. Jamaica right to left in this first half. They have packed into this small stadium over the past couple hours. There's been live music, there's been dancing, and it's been such a celebratory day. Will they have more to celebrate over the next 90 minutes and all through the weekend? Or will Jamaica crash the party? Brian Lopez blows his whistle, and we are rolling in Willemstad in the final stage of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. Can Curaçao, on their national day, pass Jamaica and take the top spot in the group? Or will Jamaica take a commanding lead and put themselves on the doorstep of the big dance? Curaçao looking for an early attack. It's an important interception by Amari Bell. Now they look for the counter, playing one over the top. Both these sides have plenty of speed in their lineup. Crucial for both sides not to turn the ball over in the middle of the park, as both these teams can hurt you in transition. First touch for Ian Frey, the 22-year-old defender for Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. Jamaican fans have wanted to see him in Jamaican colors for a few years now. His sister plays for the Jamaican women's national side. So a lot of speculation and hope that he would declare for Jamaica for quite a while, and he finally has. Gerald Margarita plays in Belgium now, formerly of Phoenix Rising in the USL in the United States. Player who can create chances on that wing. A draw for Jamaica would be a pretty good result. Away from home would keep them top of the group. Curaçao will feel they need to press for a win, although a draw wouldn't be the end of the world for them either. That would put them on 5 points. It would keep them very much in the running, at least for one of those best runner-up spots that could earn you a place in the Interconfederation playoff next March. That's where the last 2 spots in next summer's World Cup will be determined. They want to just win the group. That's the simplest way. And they're in down this left side, and it's put on goal from a tight angle. And a simple save at his near post for Andre Blake, who is making his 89th appearance for Jamaica tonight. There's Dick Advocaat, still doing it as a head coach. 77 years old now. He's coached all over the world, of course, from Holland. Won titles in the 90s with PSV Eindhoven. Won titles in Scotland with Glasgow Rangers. He won the Europa League in 2008 with Zenit St. Petersburg. Former head coach of the Dutch national team and multiple other national sides. He's had a long, storied career in football and hoping to write another exceptional chapter by taking Curaçao to a World Cup for the first time. He's been very successful at recruiting those Dutch dual nationals who have Curaçaoan ancestry, and made a good impression in the Dutch national youth ranks, but maybe can't play for the senior Dutch side. Here's Steve McLaren, the head coach for Jamaica. Took over earlier this year. Another man with a long, distinguished history in this game, of course. Played for Manchester United decades ago. Took Middlesbrough to a Europa League final, you may remember. It was known as the UEFA Cup back then, in the mid-2000s. So 2 very distinguished head coaches, both hoping to take their sides to a World Cup next summer. And all of that will be determined over the next month or so. Steered back to Blake, who's being pressured and has to get rid of it right away and takes no chances. Positive start for Curaçao. Andre Blake, such a phenomenal shot stopper. Award-winning goalkeeper in MLS with the Philadelphia Union, who just clinched the Supporters' Shield in Major League Soccer. Missed some time this year with a couple different injuries, but back healthy now at a good time for Jamaica. It's Curaçao on the attack, and the pullback attempt from that end line was cut out. Curaçao able to keep the pressure on and keep possession. And it's recycled for Sharandi Sambo. Plays for Sparta Rotterdam in Holland. Now Margarita. Neat triangular play. Oh, a slip for just a moment by Yuri Ngari. Bailey Catamarteri was the only one up applying pressure for Jamaica, though. Oh, and then a foot race and some miscommunication from Curaçao. Catamarteri was in an offside position, and so he couldn't go for that loose ball. But Curaçao initially failed to spot the other attacker coming into the frame. And now they go up the other end, 5 minutes in. Juninho Bacuna, one of the 2 Bacuna brothers in this side, along with Leandro. And that attack breaks down on the edge of the area. Juninho typically occupies the left side of that 3-man midfield. Leandro on the right side, although they'll both drift. You see Leandro playing more centrally right now, wearing that number 10. Angled ball, and trying to take it out of midair was Juninho Bacuna. Jamaica content in these early minutes to sit back a bit and absorb pressure and try to hit on the counterattack. It's not a great throw from Dexter Lembakisa, straight to a man in blue. This throw goes Jamaica's way, though. Two other games kicking off earlier than this one in the Concacaf region tonight. It's just gone final in Paramaribo, Suriname. Suriname, a last gasp equalizer against Guatemala. They draw that game 1-1. Guatemala had taken the lead in the 75th minute through Darwin Lam and were seconds away from a huge win. They couldn't quite close it out. Suriname, for now, stay top of their group with 5 points. Guatemala only on 2. El Salvador and Panama will play later tonight. That's all in Group A. This game taking place in Group B, which is an all-Caribbean group. Wasn't planned that way, it's just the way the draw fell. Neither side able to string a lot together in these early minutes. So much at stake, so much emotion, so much on the line. Katamar Terry trying to pressure Armando Obispo, who's the other player making his debut for Curaçao tonight. Calmly goes back to his goalkeeper, Eloy Room, who is certainly not making his debut for Curaçao. This is his 65th appearance for them. They're a longtime member of their leadership core. Now Margarita trying to run at his man. It's up against Amari Bell, who plays in England for Charlton. Levano Comenencia now trying to feed it on that left wing and left it instead for Lembakisa. Oh, and then there's the speed down the right flank for Jamaica, and they're in 2 against 2. And a shot from that angle flies over the bar. And it was Tyrese Campbell who got himself loose down the touchline and then cut inside and unleashed. First shot for Jamaica tonight. Talked about the speed on the flanks that both these teams have. Here's an example. Campbell's teammate, Bailey Katamar Terry, the center forward, wanted that ball squared, of course. Shielded out for a Curaçao throw. I mentioned the other game in this Group B, the other two teams in Group B, Bermuda and Trinidad and Tobago. They are just starting the second half in Bermuda. Trinidad with a 2-0 lead coming out of the break. If that result holds, Trinidad would go to 4 points after 3 games played in Group B. Curaçao on 4 points at the start of this night in seconds. Jamaica on 6. So Trinidad would be at least somewhat back in the picture if they can close that game out in Bermuda. Bermuda, it was a great underdog story for them just to reach this final round. Hardly anyone expected that around the region, but they have found it tough to compete so far in this last round. Beaten by Jamaica 4-0 last month. They did give Curaçao a good game in the end here in Willemstad in September. Bermuda did. Curaçao took an early 2-0 lead and were cruising, and then Bermuda suddenly scored twice right before halftime to make it 2-2. Took Curaçao until the 75th minute to find the winner, and they held on for a 3-2 victory in which they largely dominated the game but made it less comfortable for themselves than they felt they should have. Over 10 minutes gone in this one. Mentioned Jamaica without Premier League stars Leon Bailey or Michael Antonio, as this goes out of play for a Jamaican throw. Curaçao have a major miss in this game too. Tahith Chong, who had 2 goals and an assist in that 3-2 win over Bermuda last month, injured a knee in warm-ups while playing for his club in England about a week and a half ago. So he's been ruled out for quite a while, and that's a big blow for them. They had just gotten him to commit last month, and he made a big impact in his first 2 appearances. They won't have him for the rest of this qualifying campaign. Chong, if you're not familiar, played for Manchester United. Only made a handful of appearances, but still, it's quite a quality piece to be able to add to a team like Curaçao, and they were thrilled that he was with them finally. They are without him once again. Turning on the ball, though, is Jürgen Locadia. And they're able to persist through those challenges. Ball just wrong-footed Juninho Bacuna, though. It is a throw for Curaçao. Trinidad have just scored again, so they now lead 3-0 over Bermuda. So it certainly looks as though Trinidad will win their first game of this round after a draw and a defeat. They lost 2-0 to Jamaica in Kingston in the second game of the last window. That was a game where Trinidad actually had the ball in the net 3 times, but all 3 goals were offside. Jamaica's defense did show some vulnerabilities in that game that they weren't ultimately punished for. And later tonight, kicking off at 9 o'clock Eastern, El Salvador and Panama, as this goes over the top and is clutched by Andre Blake. A slip on that clearance, and it's turned over. And it's back with Curaçao and Leandro Bacuna. Comenencia. Obispo. Long floating switch of play is a really good one, and it's Gerald Margarita 1v1, but twisted himself in knots and turned it over to Amari Bell. Important race for that ball, and Curaçao able to win those battles in the middle of the park. In these early 13.5 minutes, back they come with Margarita again. Another battle against Bell. This time cuts inside him. Lays it centrally, and then blasted with the right foot, and they score! A worldie in Willemstad, and on their national day, a blue Curaçao shot ignites the party. What a moment for Livano Comenencia. First it was Margarita laying it into his path. Bacuna then turned it to Comenencia, and he needed no second invitation. Did his teammates want him to shoot from there? Who cares? They'll say they did. Can't hit it any better. Can't place it any better. Into the corner. Andre Blake, helpless, rooted. And this national stadium unglued. Well, as things stand, Curaçao, if this result were to hold, are headed to the top of the table in Group B. Obviously, a long, long way to go before that's the reality. Jamaica with plenty of quality to turn this around. Jamaica still the heavy favorites in this group, but Curaçao done what they've needed to do so far. They've been the better side over this opening quarter of an hour, and they found a special goal to capitalize on that superiority. There's no need for me to say much right now. You can feel this atmosphere washing over you. Said a couple times they've been partying all day, as they do on their National Day every year. It just so happens that this year, their National Day coincides with one of the biggest games in their nation's history. And they've begun it in the best possible way. And of course, with their National Day falling on a Friday this year, well, you get the idea. If they could go on and win this game, this party would extend all weekend long. It will anyway, but it would go to a whole other level. Could they score a second now? Margarita, it's good work. Close quarters against 3 defenders. Jamaica still a bit shell-shocked. But they look to rally now with the speed of Ronaldo Cephas, but he couldn't wrap that around the back line, and it rolls through harmlessly to Eloy Room. Cephas plays in Russia. Scored a couple goals for Jamaica. Stadion Ergilio Hato, named after Curaçao's biggest soccer hero in their history. Played on this island, lived on this island, raised a family on this island in the first half of the 20th century. He was so good. He was primarily a goalkeeper, and he was so good he was recruited by the likes of Real Madrid. But he didn't want to leave the island and his family, so he stayed here. Played essentially semi-professional soccer his entire career, even though he had the talent to play at a much higher level. Here's Margarita now for Curaçao, and just a bit too heavy as he tried to cut outside Amari Bell and appeared to have him beaten. It's a goal kick instead. Now throw for Jamaica as they try to build an attack, which they've not had much of in these opening 20 minutes. Livano Comenencia's banger, giving Curaçao the lead so far. And lots to ponder, not very happily to this point for Steve McLaren. There were lots of questions surrounding Jamaica coming into this final qualifying round after a very subpar showing at the Gold Cup this summer, where they not only failed to make it out of the group, but didn't come close to doing that. Long throw heaved into the area and repelled by Joshua Brennan. Now they look to release the speed of Margarita. And it's put out for a throw by Bobby Reed. Curaçao want to go quickly, with Jamaica still hustling back into defensive shape. Here's Margarita again. Fronted by 2, pulls it back for Sambo. Now Comenencia. This is the possession-based game that Curaçao want to play, and they're increasingly giving themselves the personnel to be able to play it. Curaçao, a country within the Dutch kingdom, and so they have drawn from that Dutch diaspora and had increasing success doing so over the last decade. Here's the counter from Jamaica, though. Over the top, taken down by Russell, and Jonathan Russell uses his strength to shield it off and lay it back for Ronaldo Cephas. And he goes into the middle and stepping right, trying to unleash a shot. Didn't have space to do it. Now Tyrese Campbell lays it back. Cross hit the first man, and it was blocked out by Sambo. Now into the 6-yard area and headed wide, and the best chance so far for Jamaica, but the flag does go up. And it appears it would not have counted for Jonathan Russell. Well, that's better from the Reggae Boys. That's the situation. Comenencia in the 14th minute, spectacularly. Setting this small, intimate stadium in Willemstad into a frenzy. Brennett made 2 appearances for the Dutch national team before making that one-time switch that you're allowed to make in your international career to Curaçao. And those are the kind of players that they've targeted. Those players that were good enough to come through the youth ranks for Holland, maybe good enough to get a couple of caps and some friendlies for the Dutch national senior side, but not quite good enough to start for them regularly. But boy, they can make a big impact. Most of them coming through the Dutch academies, which are so well regarded. And that's why this Curaçao team has gotten better and better. And if they win this game, their World Cup dream will not only be alive, it will be very, very real. This was the offside attempt. And it is pretty clearly offside. Jonathan Russell sending his header wide, but it would not have counted. Well, this is where Jamaica needs some of that experience to stabilize things. Foul given against Comenencia, so free kick for Jamaica. They need some possession. That's what they're trying to do in that sequence. Get the ball under control, work themselves into this game, develop some rhythm. Over a quarter of the way into this match. Clipped into the box, but straight to Eloy Room. Room, of course, used to play in MLS for Columbus Crew. He does have a framed Lionel Messi jersey on his wall, he has said. He played in goal for Curaçao. You may remember they played Argentina in a friendly after the World Cup a few years ago. And it was Room who successfully asked Messi for his jersey afterward. Room had made a few world-class saves against Messi in that game as well. His side playing extremely well in front of him over these opening 25 minutes. And now there's space for Margarita again. Cuts inside. Laid back for Comenencia. They want him to shoot again. He's not on his favored foot this time. So wide it goes. And then Comenencia let it run under his foot this time, but it falls for Sambo. Sharandi Sambo. Cycle the possession with Brennett. And Brennett into the box. Second ball is going to fall. And what a ball from Margarita now. Euro Margarita scuffed it wide, and it was cleared away. Curaçao still have it edge of the area. Pressing for that second goal. And then against a defender it goes, and Sambo has the loose ball fall to him again. Now Bakuna. Juggled at the top of the area. Not quite controlled there. Jamaica on the ropes. Favorites in this game. Heavy favorites in this group. But it is Curaçao riding the emotion of their national holiday and this feverish crowd hunting that second goal. What a touch that was. And that was Sonye Hansen, who again is making his debut for Curaçao tonight, who laid it into Margarita's path with that deft first-time touch. Throw for Curaçao. They continue to harass and pressure Jamaica. winning back possession quickly just about every time they lose it. Still 3-0 to Trinidad over Bermuda. They're in the 65th minute now. You see the possession, 66% for Curaçao. Sometimes possession figures can feel deceptive, but in this case, it pretty much matches the eye test. And that's why Jamaica have got to get a hold of this ball, find their way into this match. Again, a draw for them is not a bad result tonight. Came into this with 6 points out of 6 in the first 2 games of this final qualifying round. Again, if you're just tuning in, 6 games for each team in this last qualifying round. So after tonight, they'll be halfway through. 3 played, 3 to go. Everyone will play another game next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. And then the final international window of this last qualifying round takes place in November. 12 nations remaining in this final round in Concacaf, divided into 3 groups of 4. 3 group winners go straight to the World Cup. Into the middle this goes, laid to the top of the box. Jamaica hunting the equalizer with Tyrese Campbell, who goes to the end line. Chose not to let it go out for a corner, pulls it back instead, and then it's finally stabbed clear. Best looking attack for Jamaica in quite a while. Now settled by Amari Bell, who surges right back ahead with those lime green boots and tries to go right down the middle himself, and finally lays it off to Reynaldo Cephas. And Cephas able to dance past one along that end line. Cephas takes a double deflection, then back heel to the near post, and alert to it was Eli Room, and he needed to be. Well, that was creative. If he'd scored with that, you would have seen that highlight for a long, long time. How many players would think to do this from that position? That's tricky for a goalkeeper. Room able to squeeze that near post and squeeze the ball. Here's that speed for Jamaica, though, starting to show itself. Looking much better these last couple minutes. Bobby Reed plays for Leicester City in England. Richard King. And now there's space for Dexter Lembakisa, and he lays it into the path of Katamar Terry. He kept it in play and is able to keep it alive as well. First time Curaçao have been under extended pressure tonight. Bobby Reed. Amari Bell. Aimless ball from him. That allows Sambo to take possession, and Curaçao look for a way out. And they need that outlet up top of Jurgen Locadia. Taken back by Ethan Pinnock. May recognize him from Brentford in the English Premier League. On this right side, second ball is going to be gathered in by Tyrese Campbell, who's coming to life more and more. Lots of space for Richard King, one of the center backs. Campbell dancing and surging and beating one, and Campbell's along the end line, cuts it back himself. Tyrese Campbell sends it wide, his teammates screaming for the ball across. He went for goal instead, and it's a goal kick. And there's concern for Leandro Bacuna for Curaçao. He's 34 years old now, the older of the Bacuna brothers. Now playing in Turkey, previously of Aston Villa and Reading and Cardiff City. And the captain of this Curaçao side. Well, what a run for Tyrese Campbell, who dusted 2 different players in blue, but then with at least 2 of his teammates screaming for the pullback, he went for the shot instead. Turns into a hydration break. We weren't scheduled for those tonight, but we have one now. And so a fascinatingly poised contest. Curaçao taking the lead in the 14th minute with that sensational strike from Livano Comenencia. As things stand, they're at the top of Group B. They would leapfrog Jamaica if they win this game. They'd go to 7 points to Jamaica's 6. Again, only the group winners qualify directly for the World Cup next year. You can still qualify if you're one of the best second-place finishers. But to do that, you'd have to go to the Interconfederation playoff next March, where you would play one of the best runners-up from the other regions around the world, and that's always tough. So much better than to just win the group. I say just as if it's easy. Jamaica expected to do that in Group B, but after a September window where they won both their games, scored 6, conceded none, they are finding it much more difficult in Curaçao so far tonight. Curaçao, who their manager Dick Advocat said he felt they didn't really play their best or anything close to it in their 2 games in September, but they still took 4 points out of 6. So if they win this one, all of a sudden it's very much on. Well, Bakuna staying in for now. And Curaçao happy for that break after Jamaica had built up some real momentum over the previous 5 minutes. Curaçao were happy to calm things down and stop play for a bit. Can Jamaica crank it right back up? Mishit ball. Second ball is going to fall back to them, though. Space to progress down the right and then into the middle for Campbell. This time Campbell did look for a teammate but could not find him. Comanense in the 14th. We're 20 minutes later now, and Curaçao maintaining their lead. They'll have a free kick. Margarita tries to keep this in play, but cannot. Goal kick. And El Salvador and Panama will kick off in about an hour and a half. That game at the Estadio Cuscatlán, the famous stadium in San Salvador. That is in Group A, which is absolutely wide open. Suriname and Guatemala again finished 1-1 earlier. Last gasp equalizer for Suriname and Paramaribo. Keeps Suriname at the top of that group for now. Here goes Campbell again, threading it through. Out comes Eli Room. Couldn't quite get there. And it's Campbell cutting it back between 2 teammates. And then it's hit with the right, and it's deflected through, and it's held gratefully by Room. And the danger averted by Curaçao for now, but Jamaica looking increasingly dangerous. And a lot of it coming through Tyrese Campbell. It was a dangerous moment for Room, who came rushing off his line for that initial ball, and I guess got there enough in retrospect, but dangerous situation that Curaçao just able to survive. Curaçao are going to have to do something about Tyrese Campbell because he keeps picking up the ball in space with a chance to run at those defenders. They can't keep allowing him to do that. Easier said than done, though. Dexter Lembakisa winning the free kick then for Jamaica. Big festive crowd, a little bit more nervous over these last 10 minutes as Jamaica have started to push back. They've pushed Curaçao back, and Curaçao having to defend this set piece. Gold shirts lining up across the top of the 18-yard box. Service in from the right. Toward that near post. It's flicked out of play. This will be a corner. First corner of the night for Jamaica. No risks taken by Jürgen Locadia. There's confusion over which corner flag this corner should be taken from. Looks like it will be the near side. Set piece is always so critical, especially in international games and big World Cup qualifiers. First one for Curaçao to defend tonight comes to the near post, and they do defend it, and it came off the attacker last for a goal kick. And it was Locadia in there again. And that's the kind of sacrifice you need from your center forward in a game like this. Locadia is currently without a club, and so there's been questions over what his fitness level would be like for these games. He's formerly of clubs like PSV and Brighton. It's his intensity and his ability to fly around the pitch that have made him a trusted player for Dick Advocat. That's a fantastic touch. And this is played over the top, and way out of his area comes Blake to sweep up and put it into touch. Good to see Andre Blake back and healthy again. There was nothing he could do about Levano Comenencia's strike from well outside the box in the 14th minute that has Curaçao ahead as we inch toward halftime. Now Jamaica able to pick it up in the center circle. Forward from Jonathan Russell. Here's Tyrese Campbell again. 1v2, Campbell speeds to the end line, puts it into the middle. Nobody there in green. Kept in play by Sambo. Throw for Jamaica. Tyrese Campbell continuing to be a problem down that right flank. Free kick Jamaica just inside the touchline. And a little bit of unkind words, perhaps, between Ian Frey and Juninho Bacuna. Well, Curaçao, having absorbed pressure for the last 15 minutes or so, would love to get this to halftime with a lead. Jamaica want that equalizer before the break, and they press for it with Sifas, who swings in across. Only as far as the edge of the area. Taken down by Frey. Defender on his hip. And that was Juninho Bacuna, who did well and tackled it away. Can they counter here? And Sambo goes around the outside, but speeding back to clean up was Richard King. Into the final 5 of this first half. Not the best exchange off the throw, but Curaçao getting closer to taking this lead into the locker room. If you're just joining, Jamaica have been to the World Cup once, back in 1998. This is already the closest they've gotten to a World Cup since then. In such a good position after the first 2 games of this final group. And here is a 2v2 for Curaçao, and a defender slips down, and it's put into the middle. A chance for the second, and it's scuffed, and it bounces right to Blake. It was Comenencia with a wonderful chance to double up for himself and for his nation, and his footing let him down at the key moment. And might they regret that missed chance by the end of the night. Now, it does appear the flag went up, so it might not have counted. Although, maybe the offside was earlier in that sequence, but Concacaf in such a good spot, and it had broken down for Jamaica, and they're very fortunate. Eloy Room already taking as much time as he can, anytime he can. That's a great ball out of the back. Again, that's the skill level that Curaçao have now. So many Dutch-based players who came through Dutch academies. Concacaf, Sambo. But a good battle between he and Amari Bell. Bacuna, great first touch. Sambo again. Bacuna makes the end line run, keeps it in play, cuts it back, comes to the top of the area, struck with the right and wide. Ural Margarita, not quite. Well, he was moving back when he received that ball, and because of that, his body shape was curled around it a bit more than he probably would have liked, and because of that, he curled around the ball a bit more than he would have liked. Not a simple finish, still a chance missed. That's a couple for Curaçao in the last few minutes. We've come right back after Jamaica had a dominant 15 minutes or so. How much stoppage time will we have at the end of this half? We'll find out in just a moment from fourth official Nelson Salgado. Jamaica, though, space on the right side of this 18-yard box, and there's a shove and shouts for a penalty. Referee waves it away. Back to his feet, and then cycle to the top of the area for Bobby Reed, and then Amari Bell, and Bell into the box, and it's a chance, and it's cleared off the line. The finish was scuffed, and it was not finished as a result. And the clearance from Urian Gari as it was creeping in. And Jamaica denied for now. "30 seconds of the 45 remaining. Campbell, first time ball, laid back for Richard King. And King on the underlap. Good reading by Joshua Brennan, and he wins the free kick as well. Into stoppage time at the end of this first half, of which there will be 2 minutes.
And ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official just indicated there's 2 additional minutes to the first half. 2 additional minutes.
Well, this was the chance for Jamaica a moment ago. It so nearly made it 1-1. The ball through, completely split open the defense, but Jonathan Russell trying to turn and hit it first time. There was the penalty shout right before that. Ian Frey going down, but referee not interested. And there is VAR, of course, in these qualifiers, but that was all quickly checked and cleared. We have just over a minute remaining in this first half. Curaçao will be desperate now to get to that room, a goal ahead. Still time for Jamaica to change that. Lifted into the box, headed not very well by Urian Gari. Oh, that should be a foul against Jamaica, and it is against Ian Frey. Dragging back Sonye Hansen. Curaçao in no rush to take this. Out into touch for a Jamaican throw with just seconds remaining in this first half. All eyes go to center referee Brian Lopez. Who blows for halftime? Captivating Caribbean drama in this Concacaf World Cup qualifier. Curaçao on their national day. It was their day to this point. 45 down, 45 to go. If Curaçao win, they go to the top of Group B. Jamaica have had their moments, but Curaçao had the moment in those opening 45. The moment for Livano Comanencia, who struck it from well outside the box. And as a result, it's Curaçao getting a massive result for now. They'll regroup and come back for the second half in just a bit. We'll have highlights and stats. But at the break in Willemstad, in this CONCACAF World Cup qualifier in Group B, it is Curaçao 1, Jamaica 0. An absolutely absorbing opening 45 minutes in Willemstad, Curaçao, between Curaçao and Jamaica in this CONCACAF World Cup qualifier in Group B. Incredible party in the stands. Jamaica had some early running through Tyrese Campbell, who sent one over the bar from a tight angle. He had teammates in the middle screaming for the pullback. Campbell was the main threat for Jamaica in that first half. But it was Curaçao who would open the scoring in the 14th minute. It was late into Livano Comenencia's path. He had to get the official out of his way initially, and then, well, you see what happens after that. What a hit. Into the corner, perfectly placed, fantastically struck, leaving Andre Blake helpless and sending this stadium into ecstasy. Absolute bedlam all around this ground, and Curaçao in the lead as a result. They would maintain that lead for the rest of the first half. Jamaica would come into it after about the first 25 minutes. After they got off to a slow start, there was danger along the end line caused by Ronaldo Cephas, and then a creative backheel to the near post that Eloy Room was alert to. Tyrese Campbell continued to pose issues for them, and he sent this one wide, again with teammates screaming for a ball into the middle. But Curaçao had a tough time living with him, as he was able to cut past two different defenders before perhaps choosing the wrong option. But they continued to press, and this was the closest they came. But on the turn, unable to get full purchase on it was Jonathan Russell, and that allowed Urian Gari to clear it off the line. It was goal bound, but not hit with a whole lot of force, and that's why Gari had the chance to scuff it away. And so that was the closest Jamaica came in the first half. They certainly showed the threat and the quality that they pose. They'll need to do more of that in the second half if they're going to get something from this game. It's Curaçao in line for a sensational result as things stand at the break. And so the numbers from our first half. Curaçao out shooting Jamaica 6-5. 3 shots on target for either side. 53% of the ball for Curaçao. That was 66-34 after about the first 25 minutes. So that shows you how Jamaica got back into it in the second half of the first half. But it is Curaçao in the lead and looking for the biggest win in their nation's history if they could hang on in the second half. Can they indeed do that, or will Jamaica get themselves back into it in the second 45? We'll find out in just a moment when we come back to Willemstad in this Concacaf World Cup qualifier. It is Curaçao 1, Jamaica 0. For the second half in Willemstad, Curaçao, where the home side lead Jamaica 1-0 after the opening 45 minutes in this Concacaf World Cup qualifier, the final round of World Cup qualifying. After tonight, there will be only 3 games left for both these teams in Group B. If Curaçao could hang on and win this game, they would leapfrog Jamaica and go to the top of the group. If Jamaica come back and win it, they would go 5 points clear of Curaçao and Trinidad and be right on the doorstep of the World Cup already. So an enormous second half straight ahead. And Curaçao, it appears, are going to make a change coming out of halftime. Kenji Gore is coming on for them. He replaces Sonye Hansen, who made his Curaçao debut in that first half. And so Gore, who is a left winger just like Hansen is, goes in his spot. Curaçao in the blue, of course. Jamaica in the gold and green. It's Curaçao to kick things back off. They will attack from right to left in this second half. Center referee Brian Lopez ready to get us back underway.
For the second half for Curaçao.
A temporary hush over this packed out crowd, which was electric in the first half. After an entire day of partying on Curaçao's National Day, It just happens to fall on the day of their biggest home game probably ever, if you really think about it. Curaçao with their best chance ever to qualify for a World Cup, trying to become the smallest nation ever to do so. We're back underway for the second half. An enormously consequential second half ahead, and right away Kenji Gore with a phenomenal first touch. He's up against two defenders, looking to cross one in. It's intercepted by Richard King. Positive start though for Gore after being introduced. Curaçao much the better side over the opening 25 minutes. Jamaica had a really good spell from about the 25th until the 40th. And then nearly equalized just before halftime as well. So perhaps that's why Dick Advocat has made a change at the half, even though his side have the lead. Feel the momentum starting to turn against them. Looking for a free kick there, and they get one. Against Dexter Lembekisa, who felt it was soft, but it was won by Jurgen Locadia. And so an early set piece for Curaçao. Obviously, a second goal for Curaçao would be enormous. Jamaica with so much quality throughout their lineup. The heavy favorites in this group, the favorites in this game, even though they're away from home. Juninho Bacuna curls in the free kick, and it deflects nearly to somebody in blue. Wasn't the best free kick. Shouts for handball then, but it falls instead and hit with the left on a hop for Andre Blake to save. Leandro Bacuna and the Bacuna brothers still both out there for Curaçao, and it was the older one, Leandro, who let that go. Good start to the second half for Curaçao, with the fans still finding their way back into this game. This is going to be one of those second halves where every touch of the ball, every pass, every chance has so much meaning and potential consequence. Euro Margarito had a strong first half on that right flank. And a free kick for Jamaica. It has gone final in Bermuda. Trinidad and Tobago, a big 3-0 win away from home. That's their first win of this group. They go to 4 points in this Group B table. Right now they'd be level with Curaçao on points. If Curaçao don't get anything from this game, of course. Curaçao started the night on 4, Jamaica with 6. See the current lineups at the bottom of your screen. Now Jamaica, their first attack of the second half. Down this left flank they come. What a tackle, though. It was Sambo. It is out for a corner. Just the second of the game for Jamaica. They look for the equalizing goal early in this second half, and it's curled in with the right foot. Eloy Room able to punch, and then swung on and missed with the left by Tyrese Campbell. He's back onto it and recycles it wide. Whipped in by Bobby Reed. Hung up there and flicked just wide by the head of Richard King. Everybody seemed rooted to the ground. And Curaçao, fortunate that that was on the other side of the post. Well, there was space for Reed to settle and lift that high arcing cross. Nobody really able to get up for it. Coaches always talk about those last 5 minutes of the first half, the first 5 of the second half. Curaçao were almost caught asleep there on that recycled ball. They're able to combine up the pitch. Gore able to get past one, lays it off, gets the return feed as well, but blocked off it by Richard King, who saves the corner. Good work from Richard King, who plays for St. Mirren in Scotland. He's become a mainstay of this back line, one of the center backs for Jamaica. Plays in nearly every game for them. Curaçao have been steadily earning more and more respect around the region over the last decade. They win this game, their chances of reaching a first ever FIFA World Cup would increase enormously. 3 games left after tonight. This one still far from settled, and there's the speed down the left by Cephas, who then left the ball behind just as he was bursting toward the end line with a chance to cut it back into a dangerous spot. Curaçao have had issues shutting down those flanks. Referee emphatically pointing to his watch. Brian Lopez letting Eloy Room know that he's watching him for time wasting. And Eloy Room using his 36-year-old savvy to say, yeah, sure, thumbs up, absolutely, gotcha, don't waste time, right. I'm just going to take the ball for a long lateral walk along my 6-yard line. Don't mind me. This is a throw for Curaçao as it came off Bailey Catamarteri last. Just Catamarteri's 3rd appearance for Jamaica. Scored his first goal for them in their last game last month against Trinidad and Tobago. Jamaica, after being questioned all late summer and early fall, after falling flat at the Gold Cup this summer, not getting out of the group, they answered that in the best possible way with those 2 big wins in September to open this final qualifying round, outscoring their opponents 6-0 in the process, making them massive favorites. They were favorites already coming into this final group, but even more so after those last 2 games. And there's talk in Jamaica about how this was their biggest game in 27 years since the '98 World Cup, and that if they win this game, they could potentially clinch qualification at home next week if they were to win again and results elsewhere went their way. They have work to do to make that a reality. It's heaved into the box from this long throw, and Curaçao able to clear it away only as far as the chest of Dexter Lembakisa, who wanted to have a hit, gives it instead to Campbell, and now whipped in with the left foot, long curling cross to the backside, taken by Cephas. Able to chip it cleverly into the box. Jamaica keep possession. Both these sides would like to possess the ball. It was mostly Curaçao who did that for the first 25 minutes. Scored the goal in the 14th. Much more possession from Jamaica since then. Jamaica at least have succeeded in quieting down this previously raucous crowd. They've not succeeded in equalizing yet. See the shots, 6 each. Very even game, other than on the scoreline, where Curaçao, thanks to that sensational 25-yard strike from Livano Comenencia, still maintain the advantage. Catamarteri, just 20 years old. Jamaica want a free kick. They won't get one. Bouncing ball. Nobody able to bring it under command. Both sides looking for free kicks. Referee Brian Lopez letting it all go. Now Curaçao with a chance to counter. They don't have many numbers forward, though. And Juninho Bacuna was frustrated with the ball. Here's Tyrese Campbell. He's isolated 1v1. This is what Jamaica want. He's forced wide, though. This is good defending. Joshua Brennett doing very well, waiting for support, and then along the end line, that ball did go out of play. It's a goal kick. Well, Campbell nearly wriggled between the pair of them. 10 minutes into the second half. Jamaica still searching for that leveling goal, and they do have a free kick in the attacking half. They take it quickly for Tyrese Campbell. Campbell to King. Campbell again. King makes the underlapping run, but he was well covered. So Campbell goes it himself. On his left, Campbell. It ran away from him. He lays it back for Cephas. It's saved by Eloy Room. And the rebound is shielded and protected and finally hacked away by Juninho Bacuna. And then the overhead clearance from Locadia. And all the way back to Andre Blake. Well, Ronaldo Cephas has been dangerous for Jamaica as well. Cephas on the left, Campbell on the right. They've been a potent wing duo, but it hasn't quite paid off for Jamaica yet. That one's cut out, and this is a chance to transition for Curaçao. They'll take the safe option. Eloy Room just avoiding the onrushing Catamarteri. You have to admire the courage it takes players in a game like this, with stakes like this. Possibly your national team legacy on the line on nights like this, to play calm balls under pressure like that. It's easy to watch and take it for granted, but we really shouldn't. This was the chance for Cephas a moment ago. After the good work from Campbell, he wanted to shoot it himself. Instead, it sat up nicely for Cephas, who hit it with a lot of power. Look how he comes through this ball, but Room able to get down and beat it away. And it was crucial that Juninho Bacuna was alert to shield off the rebound. Ural Margarita makes way for Curaçao. Their second change of the night. He is replaced by Tyrese Noslin, another player who plays his club soccer in Holland.
A substitution for Curaçao, number 16, Ural Margarita.
Just the third appearance for Noslin. He made his debut in the last window. And he's already scored his first goal for them. Here goes Campbell, but his touch was too heavy. Now speed on the counter for Curaçao. Juninho Bacuna for his brother Leandro. And Juninho. And a throw. They've played together in this national team for a number of years now, Juninho and Leandro. Leandro the older. Juninho regarded as a player who has had good flashes in his career, perhaps hasn't fully fulfilled his potential, but still a very key player for Curaçao. Loose ball, that was a risky challenge from Sambo, and then it's a free kick for Curaçao, who continue to lead thanks to Comenencia's strike in the 14th minute. And it is the first yellow card of the match, shown to Ian Frey on his Jamaican debut. Steve McLaren still trying to figure out how to help his side turn this around. If Jamaica lose this game, this group would be thrown wide open. In that case, it would be Curaçao top with 7 points. Jamaica would stay on 6. They would drop to second, of course. Trinidad, after their big win over Bermuda earlier tonight, would be on 4. With half of the group remaining. 3 games left for everybody after tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 59th minute,
there's the official booking to Frey.
For Jamaica, number 21, Ian Frey.
An hour gone in Curaçao. On the day they celebrate their formal inclusion as a nation in the Dutch kingdom. Bailey Katamarteri is jogging off, and he is replaced by Shamar Nicholson for Jamaica. It's going to be a double change. These are their first changes of the night. They also take off Jonathan Russell, who had their best chance in the first half when he scuffed his bobbling shot that was still headed across the line before it was cleared off the line by Yuri Ngari.
Leaving the match, number 12, and Bailey Katamarteri, and entering the match, Shamar Nicholson. And also
Geheim Dixon into the game for Jamaica, the other change for them.
Jonathan Russell.
Out to the left it goes for Kenji Gore. And Gore on his left clips in the cross to the near post. He had a runner there. That was Yuri Ngari, but it was over his head and into Andre Blake's hands. Geheim Dixon just on the pitch. This is his 21st appearance for Jamaica. Plays for Crawley Town in England. Now down the left comes Cephas. His cross in front. Room makes the save at the near post. And then I think he made a second save as well as it came back off him. And out for a corner for Jamaica, but it was nearly so much more. And Shamar Nicholson just on the pitch a moment ago. Almost scored with his first touch. Again, it was Cephas on this left side, creating headaches for Curaçao. His cross in, and Nicholson did get something on it. Room with the first save, and yeah, he gets the second with his feet as well. Now the corner hung up, back post and headed wide. A free header for Richard King, who can only pound the turf, but could not equalize. And he knows he won't get many better chances than that. A let off for Curaçao, who lost Richard King completely. They're having issues dealing with these high arcing crosses that Jamaica are looping into their box. Look at how Jamaica hunt that ball down. And here's Dixon, lays it back, and it's scuffed wide. A miss hit from Bobby Reed, who is positioned pretty well just above the 18 with his quality. Guy who plays for Leicester City, he would have expected to hit the target. Jamaica having their chances. They've not taken any yet. They still trail by a goal. Curaçao trying to get some control back, some possession back. They have a bit here with Juninho Bacuna. And Gore. And it's a throw for them. It's a much more nervous crowd in this second half. They came here having partied all day on their national day. Party only increased after the 14th minute goal, and Curaçao began the game so well. Had a chance to score a second a couple times. Here's Gore. Gore couldn't get by Lembakisa, goal kick. But you sense in this crowd, they know there's something really at stake now. Such an opportunity for their side. If they could find a way to get across the line and win this game, take all 3 points, their chances of reaching a first ever FIFA World Cup would increase massively. That goes out into touch for a Curaçao throw on the slip by Cephas. If Jamaica can at least equalize and settle for a draw in this game, that's a 3-point swing, of course. Makes such a difference in a short group phase like this. That would keep Jamaica top of the group by 3 points. I should say by 2 points over Curaçao. They were on 6 and 4 coming into tonight. They go to 7 and 5, of course. So that would keep Jamaica in pole position to win the group and go to the World Cup. So a huge difference between, say, a 1-0 Curaçao win and a 1-1 draw. And that's what's at stake with every touch right now. And this crowd can sense it. It's taken down by Ian Frey. And laid off for Dixon, who gets himself turned and finds Tyrese Campbell, who goes across the face. And it was speared away by Leandro Bacuna. Hunted back down by Lembekisa. Cycled for King. And King surges those long strides, but can't find a teammate. Curaçao need a focal point to be able to keep the ball. That's what Locadia was able to do for a moment. Jamaica throw. Especially at this point, trailing by a goal with just over a quarter of the match remaining, as that's a poor pass out into touch and a throw for Curaçao. If Jamaica could rally for a draw at least in this game, then they go home next week to face Bermuda, who are rock bottom of the group with no points from 3 games and have been on the wrong end of heavy defeats in 2 of those 3. So Jamaica will be enormous favorites at home next week. If they lose this game, it complicates things quite a bit. They'd still be the favorites, but not by nearly as much than they were at the start of the night. This is good work from Juninho Bacuna. Free kick Curaçao. We are into the final quarter of this match now. Concacaf World Cup Qualifiers, final round. Sharandi Sambo, room to cross, clips it in. Touch back post, Gore, cut onto his right. Kenji Gore scores! They sucker punch Jamaica again, and the Blue Wave are swamping the Reggae Boys. Wave your wand, Kenji Gore. It's another magic moment for Curaçao on their magic day and an increasingly magic night. Suddenly it was a break. And there was space, and there was time. And it deflected to Gore, and he did the rest. Cutting onto his right, creating the angle, creating the space. And he didn't need anything or anyone else. The initial cross in from Sambo, took the deflection, fell to Gore. What a finish, curled gorgeously. And for a second time tonight, Andre Blake left helpless. The flags and the smoke. And Curaçao came here wanting all the smoke tonight, and they've taken it to Jamaica. Jamaica have had their chances late in the first half, early in the second half. They didn't take them, and especially in international soccer, especially in key qualifiers like this. When you don't do that, this is the kind of result that happens. It's not a final result yet. There's still over 20 minutes remaining. Jamaica do still have the quality to score twice in 20 minutes. But this big crowd that had gotten so nervous in this second half, the mood significantly lifted, as you would expect. But Jamaica continue to probe, and it's played through, and it is a chance, and it's put just wide. Shamar Nicholson. And it just won't go in for Jamaica. Well, first it was King, then it was Lembekisa. And King again, and Campbell, And Nicholson got behind the defense. Couldn't find that far side netting. And he had Eloy Room beaten if he could have. Shamar Nicholson plays in Liga MX for Tijuana. Remember, Jamaica are missing Leon Bailey and Michael Antonio in this window. That's adventurous from Andre Blake, but he makes it work. So Jamaica knew they were without two of their biggest goal-scoring threats. Now, Michael Antonio, because of that accident that he did so well to come back from over the last year, he's been mostly out for a while. But they had just gotten him back in that last window. Now they're without him again, and Leon Bailey, who has been away from the national team quite a bit over the last couple years, but he had also come back into the fold. But not here tonight either, and they could really use them trailing by 2 with 20 minutes to go. They have to be careful it doesn't become 3, and Curaçao come again, but just beyond the run of Jürgen Locadia. Come more changes for Jamaica. They throw on Karoy Anderson. Also plays for Charlton Athletic. They have a few Charlton players on this roster. Ian Frey, having made his debut tonight, comes off after 72 minutes. So does Bobby Reed. He's replaced by Jashawn Anglin. Disappointing night for Bobby Reed. He was looked to be their primary creative focus in this game in the absence of Leon Bailey and Michael Antonio, and it didn't really click for him. Eloy Room is down, and as he did in the first half, he'll take all the time that he's allowed. Eloy Rooms played well tonight, but this was the second goal for Curaçao. Fortunate touch from Jürgen Locadia, and then Kenji Gore on at halftime buries it in the far side netting. Andre Blake, who's one of the best shot stoppers in Concacaf, one of the best shot stoppers in Major League Soccer for a long time now, couldn't reach that. That's how good the finish was from Gore. Jamaica still seeking a goal to get themselves back in this game and set up a tense finish. Sliced out of play by Joshua Brennett. Goals in either half for Curaçao. In the 14th minute from Livano Comanencia. And then Kenji Gore in the 68th. Ethan Pinnock lining up the long throw. Didn't really get much on it, though. Seemed to stumble as he let it go, but it's chested back edge of the area. Richard King thought about shooting, but took too long to think about it. And now Curaçao might have a chance to break. They're sprinting away with the ball forward a bit too heavy. Tyrese Noslin, second half substitute, nearly won it back, then looks for a penalty. It has not been given. VAR will check it, of course. Benjamin Pineda is the lead VAR tonight. Well, it looked like there was not much on here for Curaçao, but then the stumble and the missed touch. Now, there was contact. The question will be who initiates the contact. I don't think it's going to be given. But the referee is telling Andre Blake to hold up play for the moment. Check cleared. On we go. King does well. Got that cross in, but again, Curaçao had a center back in the right spot. Those center backs have been in the right spot almost the entire night. It's been on the flanks where Curaçao have struggled to defend at points, but they've been able to deal with most of the cutbacks and crosses from those wide areas. Kahim Dixon trying to get turned with the ball, could not. It's a tough spot for Kahim Dixon to be on the pitch in the second half for Jamaica. He's a player with exceptional speed, but when you're trailing 2-0, the opposition's going to sit back most of the time. So it's not a game state where Kahim Dixon's going to have a chance to showcase that speed on the counterattack very much. He's the kind of guy you'd like to bring on either in a tie game or leading by a goal late and let him run at a tired defense. Doesn't suit his game as much when they're sitting back against him. It has been an almost picture-perfect night for Curaçao and for this nation through 77.5 minutes. They've gotten the breaks they've needed, but they've taken full advantage. They scored a world-class goal in the first half. Scored another excellent goal in the second half. They've had the finishing touch that Jamaica have lacked. Now they want more, and the touch was too heavy. Curaçao headed for the top of Group B as it stands, unless Gore. Apparently that ball went out of play. It was a terrific first touch, but did not count. Dick Advocat pacing that touch line at 77 years old. Friendly arm around the fourth official. The arguments tend to be friendlier when you're leading 2-0. If Curaçao could get to the World Cup, what an achievement that would be for them and for Dick Advocat. But this ball in behind is excellent, and the strike from Dixon flies across the face of goal. It stays in play, and it's put out of play now for a Jamaican throw. They take it quickly for Jashon Anglin, and Anglin hitting it on the half volley, but unable to keep it down. There's another fine ball from Richard King, who's had a few of those in this second half. Kahim Dixon, the angle was slightly against him. This will be the last change of the night for Jamaica. They take off Tyrese Campbell, who had a strong first half, faded a bit here in the second. And Dewan Richards is the last throw of the dice for Steve McLaren tonight. Dewan Richards plays for Chelsea. Again, that's the caliber of player that these Concacaf nations have begun to attract over the last handful of years. This is Karoy Anderson. There's plenty of youth in this Jamaican side. Anderson's just 21. Richard King, well, that's harmless. And Eloy Room falls on it with 10 minutes to go. Curaçao closing in on a sensational result. It would be the biggest win in their history so far. They hope there are bigger to come. It would give themselves a real chance for there to be even bigger ones. They'd be top of this final qualifying round in Group B with 3 games remaining. Only the group winners go directly to the World Cup next summer. Jamaica were expected to be that team. Still very well might be that team. They've not been that team tonight, though. Jamaica with the majority of the possession now, but that was always going to happen with them trailing throughout this second half. Remember, Curaçao had 66% of the ball in the opening 25 minutes or so. That was when they established their early lead and really established the entire tone of this match, because Jamaica have had to chase ever since the 14th minute when they fell behind. And they've had a number of chances to turn the game around, but they didn't capitalize on any of them. And when Gore scored in the 68th, it's been relatively comfortable for Curaçao since. Still time for Jamaica to raise the heart rates here in Willemstad in the final minutes. Lopez stopping play. 8 minutes of the 90 remaining. Free kick for Jamaica. Taken quickly. Kenji Gore was too close to the free kick. Warned by Brian Lopez. Now it's taken short. Dewan Richards curls it with the left, but overhits it. Goal kick. Jamaica back on the attack. Richards turns it over, though. Curaçao with almost everybody back defending. Lacuna on the deck. Jamaica unsympathetic. Richards. Lembakisa. Jamaica finds something from a long way out. They nearly did. Eloy Room tips it over. Corner Jamaica. It was almost a spectacular goal to get them back in it for the final minutes. Best save of the night from Eloy Room. Who again is taking as much time as he plausibly can. If your team's winning, you call that a masterclass in game management. If your team's losing, you feel differently. This is bent to the backside. Free header! Wide! Another chance for Jamaica. And they simply cannot find a finish tonight. Karoy Anderson that time, unmarked. But the score sheet remains unblemished for Curaçao. This was a terrific delivery from Dewan Richards. And it should have been a goal. He's standing all alone. He didn't even have to jump for it. Karoy Anderson. Poor marking from Curaçao. They've gotten away with that a couple times in the box. But still they lead by 2-0, and we're into the final 5 of the 90. And here goes Tyrese Noslin. Will he just take it to the corner? Absolutely not. His cross in, comes to the back post. Nearly fell for Juninho Bacuna. Curaçao had a bunch of players up in that attack. Maybe not the best advised with the 2-goal lead late, but they really want that third. Excellent turn by Anderson. The skill has been evident for Jamaica tonight. They just haven't been able to put it together into any kind of end product. Lembakisa and Richards. Plenty of space to deliver something. Richards going for goal, and he hit his own man into the midsection of Shamar Nicholson and out for a goal kick. And that, unfortunately for Jamaica, sums up their night so far. Well, this was the strike from, I mean, how far out is this? 30 yards more? Eloy Room able to get up and tip it over. Such a pure hit from Jashawn Anglin. Anglin plays domestically in Jamaica for Mount Pleasant, one of just a handful of Jamaican national team players these days who still plays in the domestic league. Change for Curaçao. They're going to bring on Godfried Romerito for these final minutes. And he replaces Livano Comanencia, who receives a well-deserved ovation. His phenomenal goal in the 14th minute set Curaçao on their way tonight. Godfried Romerito has been part of the national team setup for quite a while now for Curaçao. Plays for Walwick in Holland. Well, this is a fine run from Dewan Richards. Away from one. Top of the area, first time hit against a defender. And then Richards and his teammate tangled together and lost the ball collectively. 1v1 on the counter. It's read and swept up by Richard King. Jamaica possess again, but time very short against them now. Lembakisa. And that's not going to accomplish anything. Jamaica claiming they should have had a free kick there. They don't get it. 90 seconds of the 90 left. Curaçao closer and closer to a historic result. It is Richard King, though. Richards. Anderson. Richards pinging it far side. Ronaldo Cephas has faded quite a bit over the last 20 minutes. Into the box it goes. Back to goal. Dixon lays it across. Here's a chance. There's a goal for Jamaica. They score, and it's not over yet. It took them 89 minutes to find a finish. They finally do through Richard King. Stoppage time coming up. And it will be a tense stoppage time for Curaçao. And hope reignited for Jamaica. Good work from Dixon. And he found his man splitting the defense. Richard King missed an unmarked header earlier. Didn't miss with his foot. Good finish. It's the finish they've been searching for all night. They need at least one more. And a draw for Jamaica would be massive under the circumstances. It would keep them top of the group by 2 points instead of falling behind Curaçao by 1. We're awaiting the announcement of how much stoppage time we will have. 5 minutes is the answer. That's how long Curaçao have to hold out now with just a 1-goal lead to achieve a result that was starting to look certain. Dick Advocat needs his side to manage these final minutes now. And now, Brian Lopez, the referee, has indicated that he's going to be summoned to the VAR monitor. So hold on. Jamaica may not have pulled a goal back. Pending this review. Well, is this offside here? Now the ball comes across. The player is in an offside position is Roy Anderson. Was the ball in his vicinity? Was he interfering with this play from an offside position? Does he shield off the defender enough there for his offside position to come into play? Obviously, the goal scorer, Richard King, is not close to being offside, but that's not what's being looked at. It's all about the positioning of Roy Anderson, number 16 in gold. And is he interfering with that play from that offside position? If he is, then that goal is going to be ruled out. And that clearly is what the VAR, Benjamin Pineda, feels may have been the case. And that's why he summoned Brian Lopez over to the monitor to look for himself. And this is close. Roy Anderson doesn't directly get involved in the play, but does he shield off the defender enough from that offside position to interfere with Joshua Brennett's ability to get over and maybe try to block that shot? Brennett gets screened off the ball there. Is that enough to chalk that goal off? That's the question that only Brian Lopez can answer now. Well, he's made up his mind, and we're about to find out. After VAR review, no goal, offside. Anderson judged to have interfered with the play. It's still 2-0 to Curaçao. And the party resumes. And now it looks certain to extend through the night and all through the weekend. And Richard King is furious, and Jamaica so thoroughly frustrated tonight, and even more so now.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 90th minute, substitution for Curaçao, leaving the match.
A late sub for Curaçao. Jurgen Locadia goes off. Rashawn Van Eyma comes on for the final couple minutes. Ostensibly at that center forward spot, but he's going to mostly defend with a 2-goal lead. Clearance sliced up into the air by Joshua Brennett. Falls down for a classy looking first touch from Dewan Richards, but ultimately an ineffective one, and it's out for a goal kick. We're into the final minute of the allotted 5, but there was that lengthy delay after the goal was scored. Remember, the goal hit the back of the net around 89:20 on the clock, and then we had the VAR review. So the ball was out of play for a good 3.5 minutes at least, so will likely play well beyond the 5 minutes. But Curaçao crucially maintaining that 2-goal cushion. Curaçao with a goal in the 14th, the goal in the 68th, one in either half. Had to defend a fair amount, although maybe not as much as you would have expected coming in. They've shown their quality for long stretches. Jamaica have created plenty, but have not finished any of them. And when they finally did, it was ruled out after VAR review. Juninho Bacuna on the deck for Curaçao. referee again indicates that he's minding the time. Bakuna, since he's off the pitch, the referee waves for play to go on. Curaçao saying, our man's down. And the referee saying, well, he's down off the pitch, so you can continue with 10. So Curaçao playing with 10 for the moment. They want to kill it in the corner, but they weren't able to do so, and now it's a free kick for Jamaica. So we'll probably have a few more minutes remaining. That is all at the discretion of Brian Lopez. Jamaica need 2 goals and not much time. Otherwise, Curaçao are going to the top of this group with 3 games left to play in this final World Cup qualifying round. From the left side, a skied, tired-looking cross from Ronaldo Cephas, who was such a threat for so much of the night, but has faded badly late in this game. All about taking your chances in this sport, especially so in international soccer. Curaçao have been clinical tonight. Jamaica have been wasteful. It's looking like it will be a Curaçao conquest as a result. Curaçao will go to Jamaica later in this group next month. A game that now looks like it could potentially be decisive for that top spot in that World Cup berth. Curaçao giving them a chance if they can hang on to this result. Jamaica still seeking one back. And this will be shepherded expertly out of play by Rashawn Van Ima. Jamaica throw. We've had 8 minutes now. How much more will Brian Lopez allow? Down for Limbakisa. Chased by Nicholson. Everybody standing in Willemstad. Nicholson tumbles over, free kick Jamaica. Well, if they were to score from this, would there be time for them to attempt another? Would there be time left for them to have at least one more attack and maybe create one more chance after that? Odds are certainly long. We've seen plenty of wild things happen in this sport. It has been a wild night in Willemstad. These fans are ready to fully celebrate, but first this free kick for Jamaica. Looks like Shamar Nicholson will take it himself. And he hammers it over the bar. Arms to the sky. The end. And Curaçao are only beginning to dream. On a historic Curaçao Day, their national day, it is Curaçao's night. The Blue Wave ride this national party and atmosphere to an enormous 3 points in World Cup qualifying and leapfrog the heavy favorite Jamaica into first place in Group B. Halfway through this final group stage, 3 games left to go. It is all there for Curaçao now. Their quest to become the smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup is massively alive. The party will continue all night in Willemstad and all weekend, where it finished tonight, Curaçao 2, Jamaica 0.
Curaçao Federation, Cuba Federation, and FIFA Concacaf. We thank you for visiting and watching the match. Curaçao, Jamaica, and coming Tuesday. Curaçao, Trinidad and Tobago.
What a night in Curaçao for Curaçao. On the night they celebrate their national day, after an entire day of partying, they kicked off a night that turned out to be especially festive. Early on, a chance for Jamaica. Tyrese Campbell was a menace down this right side for much of the first half, but sometimes didn't pick the correct option once he got into those dangerous areas. That happened a couple times in that first half. And in the 14th minute, Curaçao took the lead. The ball fed into the path of Livano Comanencia, who struck it so beautifully from such a long way out and struck it perfectly into the corner, igniting this raucous crowd and sending this blue wave into the stratosphere. And that gave Curaçao the foothold that they wanted early on, and they would maintain that foothold for the rest of the night. You're worried about that fence holding up, but Curaçao were able to hold up as it turned out. There was pressure from Jamaica. You knew it would come. About 25 minutes in, they got into their stride. For most of the rest of the first half, this backheel attempt from Ronaldo Cephas was clever, but Eloy Room was alert to it. Room had a good night in goal for Curaçao, showing that veteran composure that they need from him. Later, it was another chance for Tyrese Campbell, but again, he had teammates screaming for the cutback with the ball across the face of goal, and he went for the shot instead and wasn't able to find the target. And that was the story all night for Jamaica. Got themselves into good areas, created some good chances, could not find the final ball. This was their best chance of the first half, and it was a point-blank chance on the turnaround, but still, Jonathan Russell knows he should have done better. He just didn't catch it cleanly. After getting himself in space, he clipped it off his heel, and that allowed Yuri Ngari to clear it off the line before it could bobble across. Early in the second half, Jamaica went back to the attack, and this one from Cephas was on goal, and it tested Eloy Room, who got down quickly and beat it aside, and his teammate Juninho Bacuna was there to shield the rebound. So Jamaica were asking the questions for the first 20 minutes of the second half or so, and this crowd here in Willemstad were getting increasingly nervous as their team tried to hold on. But that's exactly what they were able to do. Jamaica kept on attacking. Cephas again got to the end line. And this ball toward the near post needed 2 saves from Eloy Room. First right here, and then watch this second one that he gets with his feet. Shamar Nicholson had just come on, wasn't able to put it home. Then Curaçao found the second goal, and it was Kenji Gore, a halftime substitute, who sent this crowd back into raptures and restored the party atmosphere for the rest of the night. Terrific finish after it fell to him. He did the rest, leaving Andre Blake snatching at air and reinflating the Curaçao balloon. 2-0 to La Familia Azul. That would be the final scoreline. Jamaica still had chances to get back into this game late on. And in fact, as this ball was sent wide just after that second goal by Kaheem Dixon, who played well after coming on in this second half, Jamaica have good individual pieces. They played so well in their first 2 games of this final qualifying round last month and taking 6 points and outscoring their opponents 6-0. Well, they just couldn't do it tonight. They thought they pulled a goal back late on. First, this terrific effort from a long way out had to be tipped over the bar by Eloy Room. It was a great hit from Jashawn Anglin, who had just been introduced a few minutes prior. But Room again was equal to it. Watch how he gets into this ball and hits it so well. And this needed to be tipped over. But it was Curaçao keeping their 2-goal lead. And it looked like that lead had been reduced to 2-1 as we entered second half stoppage time. The ball across was then tucked home into the far side netting by Richard King. But on VAR review, it was seen that Karoy Anderson, number 16 in gold, was interfering with play from an offside position. And so because of that, the goal was ruled out after VAR review. No goal, it stayed 2-0, and that was really the last gasp for Jamaica. Curaçao able to see out the final minutes of stoppage time and take home a massive and historic victory in qualifying. So the final numbers from a memorable night here in Willemstad. Curaçao outshot in the end 18-7 by Jamaica. Jamaica chasing that game throughout the second half. 18 shots, no goals. That will disappoint the Reggae boys profoundly. They had 58% of the ball, but again, Curaçao were happy to defend for most of the second half. They did it very well, and when they did break down, Jamaica couldn't punish them for it. And Eloy Room with some quality saves and 2 quality finishes for Curaçao. That's a recipe for winning as an underdog. And that's exactly what Curaçao did tonight. And because of that win, because of those 3 points, here's how Group B looks now. There's a new leader. That's Curaçao. 7 points from 3 games. Jamaica now in second on 6. Trinidad, after they win earlier tonight, not out of it yet, as they now have 4. So the second half of this group set up beautifully. 3 games down, 3 to go. These teams will all play again early next week. It will be Jamaica at home to Bermuda. Curaçao will go to Trinidad. Crucial games there. But for tonight, it is Curaçao's night. What a party in Willemstad. And we appreciate you being here with us for it. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. For our entire great production team, I'm Donnie Barnes. Good night from Willemstad, Curaçao, where it finished tonight in World Cup qualifying. Curaçao 2, Jamaica 0.